The roots of the Vietnam War. Under the Eisenhower administration, his concept was, don't get into brushfire wars. Don't get into Koreas or Vietnams or Iraqs or Afghanistans. Instead, either fight a nuclear war, and at that point we had a pretty much monopoly over the bomb, or use covert action through the CIA to overthrow governments. And several times Eisenhower did. He overthrew the government of Iran, bringing the Shah into power, deposing a democratically elected government that probably would have ended up not being what we face today. And he also did it in Guatemala and tried to do it in Vietnam and a host of other countries. But Kennedy felt that that left the United States basically helpless, because by the time Kennedy came into office, the Soviet retaliatory capability was such that they certainly could wipe out Western Europe if the United States attacked, and were increasingly developing an ability to attack the mainland United States. So the nuclear war option was sort of off the table, and covert action hadn't worked in Vietnam, hadn't worked in a bunch of other countries, and was increasingly unlikely to succeed. And then in the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, it obviously failed to topple Fidel Castro. So faith in covert operations by the CIA decreased. So that left Kennedy with the choice of going into these ground wars and fighting them. And in his inaugural address, Kennedy said, "We will pay any price, bear any burden, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty." And that meant he was moving away from what Eisenhower called the New Look, which was a smaller military, less intervention in foreign wars, and either a nuclear attack or covert action. And he was basically saying we have to beef up the defense budget, build up our military, and prepare to intervene in contests throughout the Third World. And that dominated Kennedy's thinking during 1961. After his father had a stroke in December of '61, and he realized that after the Cuban Missile Crisis in October of '62, that this strategy could lead to a nuclear war, he was determined to back away from it and defuse the tensions in the world, and was in the process of pulling out of Vietnam when he was killed. In fact, some people feel that might have been part of the motive for the assassination, who feel that it's a conspiracy of the right-wingers in the American government. But the point is that Kennedy put us away from the Eisenhower view toward the view of intervention in Third World wars. And then there was a whole macho propaganda thing to make this good. They found a doctor named Tom Dooley who treated the sick throughout Southeast Asia and made him a martyr to try to talk about how the communists were oppressing people. It later came out that Dooley was on the CIA payroll. They also invented a song about the Green Berets, pierce silver wings on my son's chest, make him one of America's best, the song said. And the whole idea was macho America. We can fight this, we can win this, we won't be defeated in the jungles of Asia. And that led to a momentum toward intervention. When Kennedy was killed and Johnson took over, he reversed Kennedy's policy of withdrawal from Vietnam, canceled the withdrawal of the first 1,000 advisors, which was scheduled to start in December, the month after Kennedy died. And while he didn't plunge right into the war, because he was running against Goldwater in '64 as the peace candidate opposing nuclear war, right after he defeated Goldwater, the escalation that led to Vietnam began. But it's very interesting to note that the military, the really serious military from the generation before, opposed this. Eisenhower and General MacArthur, who was commander of the Pacific Front in World War II and in Korea, said it was insanity to commit our troops to a ground war in Southeast Asia. Winston Churchill said, "It's like going into the water to fight the shark." Next week we'll talk about the Vietnam War and how it evolved and what it meant for the United States. Thanks for watching.